There we go. Should be able to hear me now. Had some technical difficulties there. All right. So this one might actually throw some people for a loop here because we have two different pieces of gear, obviously. I don't know how much you're going to want this hero. You might just get him out of some dumb luck trying to pull for the arc like I did. In which case, you might have to choose between a piece of gear, right? I'm definitely going to be choosing. I'm not going to go all in to get both of these, that's for sure. But as I was looking through them, I kind of just really thought about what I was going to do with this hero and was like, you know, there's probably two paths for this hero. You're going to either just use him to clear content and you're going to use him as a boss killer and he's going to be like your main squeeze fire damage dealer because, I mean, no matter what gear you got, he should be able to do good. Dual wield or double hand, however you want to run him, right? So the sword's going to be good for that because, you know, fire damage plus 25% and damage cap 2000, which is nice for fire. And then physical damage taken minus 10%. That's nice on there. That extra, that little bit of survivability is nice on there. I'm glad they gave something a little bit more than just 25% damage and 2000 more damage cap. It also has a little bit of defense in mind. 233 strength fire attribute, right? And the other one is a glove. And I'm glad this isn't an armor. This is taking up an accessory slot. 500 hit points, 61 strength, and 60 defense. Nothing for ailments or attributes. But the trait on this is a big deal, I think. Nullify enemy anti-soldier type effects. That's his biggest weakness in the game. That lets you neuter that. And damage taken from non-boss enemies, minus 10%. So the fact that this lets you nullify enemy anti-soldier type effects against him, how do I want to put this? As far as arena is concerned, as far as any kind of tower defense is concerned, any one of those modes of the game where you're setting up these weird little parties, especially, I think, in that tower defense, he's going to make an awesome tower defense character. He's got like the crazy counter and all that stuff built in. There's a lot of heroes that have anti-soldier type effects. There's a lot of heroes that have them, and like, what is it, Human Slayer? Things of that nature. These are all, you know, anti-soldier type effects. Soldiers are very common. So that's a big deal for him, and I think that is going to give him so much more life in a lot of these situations where you would be using him for tower defense or you would be using him for arena, you know, when he's going up against other actual heroes. I honestly think that you might get more mileage out of having these gloves. What are we going to give up? You have fire attack damage 25% and the damage cap. In the game modes that I'm talking about, you're not even going to be hitting no damage cap. I mean, like, your fire attack plus 25% is still going to be helping you a little bit, right? But you're not going to get your extra damage cap out of there. Physical attack damage taken, that's nice, right? But the gloves is doing that too. Damage taken from non-boss enemies, minus 10%. So it all depends on which way you want to go with it, I think. If I was just going to be using him as like a boss slayer, content clear, maybe I'd nab up the sword. But if I'm throwing him into tower defense and giving him his own two-person party where it's just him and a support, and I expect him to take a ton of hits and to counter them, right? Like, the more hits you can take, the more counters you can get off. And taking away anti-soldier type effects from heroes like Yuri and heroes that are going to be coming with that, knowing that they're probably going to be, you know, fighting against a party that has some soldier types in it. So this is cool. in my mind, this is kind of like a somewhat of a Yuri counter. So we will have to see how he does, right? But just something to think about before you make the choice on his paid gear. It's all up to you in the end. But that's just kind of how I'm looking at it between the Sacred Tier and Cloud's gloves. Claude. So, either way, I hope you got the hero and the arc without having to get any of these pity medals. Later.